Imagine you're like Dr. Timmer from Monster, a man torn between doing what's right and what feels easy. Today we're diving headfirst into the ethical dilemmas that force me to question my own integrity. And spoiler alert, much like J. Cole said, I cook so masterfully, I ain't gotta pay a chef. But what happens when you don't follow your own recipe for integrity? In today's episode, we're exploring how Monster taught me hard lessons about integrity. Dr. Timmer faced moral decisions that challenged his core values, and I was in similar situations. In my own life, I found myself wrestling with choices that either aligned with or betrayed my core values. This episode is all about identifying what integrity means to you, how I failed to uphold it at times, and how you can avoid those pitfalls. From anime to personal growth, we're connecting the dots. As the lyrics suggest, when we stray, they at your neck for the way you slept, because living without integrity has consequences. What's up, Zenyoku family? Michael Yearby here at michaelyearby.com, your friendly neighborhood Air Force Master Sergeant turned personal development expert and anime junkie. I'm reporting from the lovely Shreveport, Louisiana, bringing you all the knowledge of anime, hip-hop, and personal development. Trust me, I got a story today that's gonna make you question your own integrity, just like Dr. Timmer did in Monster. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below where you're watching this from. I would really like to know. Last week, we discussed how I define my core values, like a pirate king in One Piece. Yeah, Luffy would be proud. Who knew pirates could teach you about sticking to what matters most? We're going to discuss understanding what core values are, identify your personal core values, and living by your core values every day. Let's jump into it. No monsters involved yet. Just me feeling that life lessons on integrity.
'Cause I'm ready! I'm ready!
But as J. Cole said, it's evident by the way you step, you can't hide from the way you walk through life. Core values are like the ultimate power move in anime. They guide your decisions like a moral compass, much like Dr. Timmer in Monster when he chose to save a life rather than advancing his career. It's all about knowing who you are at the core and standing by it. Think of them as your ultimate weapon. If you abandon them, you lose a part of yourself. And trust me, I've been there, feeling like Zoro without his swords. As J. Cole said, I made a milli, feeling like Bangladesh. But even success feels hollow if you're not living by your core values. So how do you figure out what your core values are? Imagine yourself like a protagonist in your own anime. What drives you to make tough decisions? Is it your family, honesty, or maybe loyalty? If you can name what matters most, you found your values. But here's the kicker. I ignore mine sometimes, and it felt like fighting a boss battle with no weapons. Don't be like me. Don't ask how I feel about no rappers, but do ask how you feel about your own choices. Identify them before you fail. Core values aren't just something you say you have. They're the things you show in your actions. In Monster, every time Dr. Timmer faced a choice, he didn't just talk about it, what he believed. He lived it or failed to. Same here. I said I value integrity, but then made choices that betrayed that. And just like in anime, my consequences were a monster of my own. As the song goes, don't ask for a feature and see the face of death. Because when you fail your own integrity, you face some hard truths. Now that we covered core values, let's look at how you can identify them. Hint, it's not as easy as picking up your favorite anime characters' best traits. It's like J. Cole said, y'all chasing relevance is evidenced by the way you step. The way you live shows who you really are. We discuss core values, guide your life choices like an anime protagonist. In a moral compass, identifying your values is crucial or you'll end up feeling lost. Action speaks louder than words, guys. You have to live your values every day. Ever try to figure out what makes you tick like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer? Figuring out why he fights? The same goes for your personal core values. You need to take a good look at what drives you. For me, it's always been about loyalty and honesty, but I sometimes ignore those values. Have you ever ignored yours? I had to stop it. J. Cole said, peep how they profit off stress. Man, ain't that the truth, right? Sometimes we have to stop ourselves from chasing the wrong things. You guys know what I'm talking about. Think of this as your very own character arc, your journey of self-discovery. Just like Naruto's journey to becoming a Hokage, filled with his moments of self-reflection and growth, you need to ask yourself, what's my ninja way? This isn't just about what sounds good. These values should align with your actions, or you'll end up like me, making choices that felt like a bad filler episode. Cole and Yachty coming for their respect, come and pay your debt. Your values are non-negotiable, and you owe it to yourself to live by them every single day. It's important to realize when you're not living by your core values. I used to think I was covered because I said I had integrity, but let me tell you, I failed to keep it consistently. Much like Dr. Timmer, I realized that straying even a little bit can lead to severe consequences. It's like trying to dodge an attack but getting hit because your timing's off. Please don't wait for the world to smack you in the face like I did. Studio steppers moving extra on songs faking rep reminds me that faking integrity is just as dangerous. Eventually, you get called out. So boom, let me give you part of the story. When I was a young staff sergeant, back when I was in Okinawa, I was in engine management. And also I had a young troop, senior airman. He spoke English very well, but he was of Latin descent, Spanish, Hispanic descent. So, sometimes with his accent, it was very difficult to understand what he was saying. And he was very hard-nosed, by the book, AFI driven young man. He was in a different AFSC career field than I was. I'm an engine troop. MFE, yeah. But he was LRS, a supply troop, and I usually have one of those in engine management. So long story short, he was saying that things they couldn't do according to AFI, and a lot of different people higher ranked than myself, master and above, was trying to get him to do things that wasn't the right thing to do. But he stood his ground. What happened is around EPR time, or it's now EPB, but at that time, it was EPR time. They wanted to mark him down for him standing his ground and doing the right thing. Now, personally, I didn't think that was right at all. This airman has won multiple awards, was going to school, a true inspiration to what it means to be a young airman in the Air Force. But my leadership, a master sergeant, called me into his office and said, hey, you need to mark him down in this area. You need to mark him down in this area. I said, sir, how? I can't justify that because he's doing fantastic in those areas. He actually won awards. And then also he's doing a whole airman concept because he's going to school, something I'm not even doing. He said, if you don't do it, guess what? I'm going to do it to your EPR when it's time. So I had to make a huge decision. Do I have my integrity and do what's right by him, or do I cover my ass? So I remember, man, I was dealing with it for a couple of days, and he saw that I was going through the thick of things. So he's like, hey, Sergeant Yearby, is everything all right? And I said, so I had a little private meeting with him. I told him exactly what was up. And he was like, he's like, man, just mark me down. And I said, nah, man. He's like, man, just mark me down. Thank you for having my back. But man, I don't want you to get, in trouble for me standing firm in my integrity. I'm going to tell you guys, on that day, I felt like less of myself. And not less of myself because I marked him down and did what my senior NCO told me to do. I felt less of myself because when I did mark him down, I felt a sense of relief. Terrible, huh? I felt relief for doing what I was told to do. I didn't stick it out. And long story short, that same year, he ended up making staff first time. I was very proud of him, happy for him. And he ended up getting out of engine management at the time to go back to his squadron at LRS and do bigger and better things. But guys, integrity means so much. No matter what job or career field, if you're in the military and you find this story like, oh man, this is crazy, or you're like, oh man, I experienced this before. Every job you have, you're gonna always deal with something, right? You have to stick by your core values. You have to stick by your principles. If you don't, what type of person are you? Next up, let's dive into how you can live by those values every single day. Don't worry, it's less painful than getting hit by a Rasengan. It's a battle. Just as J. Cole put it, my table's set, I dine on your favorite, and living by your values is the best meal you can serve yourself. We discover what drives you like a main character on their journey. Values aren't just talk, they require self-awareness and action. And failing to live by your values will eventually lead to consequences. Trust me, I've been there. Once you identify your values, the next step is to live them. Think of it as your training to be the best, like Goku in Dragon Ball. Every action you take should reflect those values. For me, I had to realize that integrity isn't something you switch on or off. You don't get to be honest only when it's convenient. Otherwise, You'll be like Vegeta, trying to hide your soft side. Eventually, everyone sees it. As J. Cole said, my greatest flex is that I made $1 million, feeling like I'm Bangladesh. But real success is more than just money. It's living by what really matters most. Living by your values daily is hard, kind of like trying to keep up with all the One Piece episodes. You're gonna mess things up sometimes, and I sure did, significantly, when I compromised my honesty for short-term gain. But here's the thing, you don't give up just because it's hard. Like Dr. Timmer, who had to fight for his integrity in Monster, you must also keep fighting for yours. Too many homicides, as J. Cole put it, reminds me that every time we fail to live by our values, it's another small death to our own integrity. Accountability is your best friend here. Make sure you're checking in with yourself. If you mess up, admit it and fix it. It's like Naruto. Even when you stray off your ninja way, there's always a chance to come back stronger. Like I told you guys, I failed plenty of times, but the key is learning from it and coming back with the vengeance. As the lyrics say, I probably put more people on pause than Cam and Mason Beth, and sometimes you have to pause and reset to stay true to yourself. Let's recap what we learned. Because living by your values takes work, but it's worth it. As J. Cole said, don't waste your breath, so don't waste your time pretending to live by values you're not really following. We discuss, once you identify your values, live them out every day. No exceptions. Messing up is part of the journey, but accountability will keep you on track. And it's about progress, not perfection. Keep pushing like your favorite anime protagonist. In this episode, we discuss core values guide your choices like a moral compass in anime. Identifying your personal values is the first step to living with integrity, and living by those values every day takes practice, accountability, and commitment. As we wrap up, remember, living with integrity is like never-ending training arc. Challenging, but always rewarding. Reflect on a recent decision. Did you stick to your core values or stray off course? What can you do to align your actions better with your values? Who's your favorite anime character that stays true to their core values? And how did they inspire you to do the same? Hey there, Zenyoku family. If you love diving into anime and personal growth, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep Zenyoku's spirit alive. Until next time, keep seeking integrity, embracing growth, and paying it forward. Peace.